listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Afternoon. Welcome back and thank you for joining us. It is a Thursday for some of us who feel like we haven't even left the offices yet. Well, we have. We just returned. It's just another day. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-TALK is that flow toll-free line as we invite you to call and share your thoughts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back and thanks for joining us. Yesterday, we mentioned that Mr. Ezra Miller would join us and I tell you, I'm on to his word. Certainly intended to come in, but as things transpire, it's a moving goalpost. They say life is fluid. They say things change on a dime, and we want on his behalf to extend the sincerest apologies. Fully appreciate his willingness to come, but circumstances being what they are, we're going to reschedule. But why not? Perfect time to maybe have just open line and an opportunity. There was a press briefing yesterday. There's so much conjecture, so much speculation, rumor, innuendo, so much division and discord. Is there a way to find a sense of unity? I can say that sometimes our personal lives and our personal sort of happenings, as it were, affect us in such a way that we can't, even when we want to think as clearly, even when we wish and choose to relate to those perhaps closest to us, who mean the most. We can't, because the professional, toll that is now being had in our lives, such that we're unable to give the level of respect and attention that our personal lives require. It's a sacrifice. They say heavy is the head that hangs the crown. Some of us, because of our jobs, probably don't appreciate the toll that we may, be taking on our own health and well-being, on our relations with our spouses, our children, our closest of friends and family, even the new and the well-established, simply because it's the nature of it. We know that some professions seem to be lonely. I mean, how many tennis players you see high-fiving their partner as opposed to the football team after a victory? The coach may be hugged, even swimmers. One of the reasons, if you ask some very, very, athletically inclined students which sport, they would like, despite the incredible sacrifice of being an elite athlete, the discipline that is required, the incredible time management skills, the swimmer gets up really early, is in the pool for an extended period, goes about the day, if it's a student athlete, then returns to the pool, maybe 2 or 3 times more through that day in some sort of training session, or whether it's with the psychological sort of emotional aspect, whether it's with the nutritional component, whether it's the physical fitness from the strength training and conditioning. But that's what it takes, that sacrifice. At least that's what we believe, what we expect, and somehow what we go about trying to attain as the parent, as the coach, as that vested entity in this prospective Olympian or other elite athlete. And it is what the athlete, him or herself, expects, comes to accept. Well, it's like that with other chosen professions. Yours is the one that friends are few and far between, so you're not able to take any and everyone into confidence. Not the easiest of ask of people. So let's fast forward to where we are today. We point fingers at the politicians, we blame them, and because they're human, they're open to missteps. But we, as voters, what are we doing? Can the politician be with us every day at the same time, tending to our personal needs, and then expect us, are we then expecting the politician then to be able to focus on policy, on governance, and running the country? You see, they can't serve two masters now. On one hand, it is accepted that the politician shouldn't just come around when it's time for election, but is it reasonable for us as a voter to expect the politician to every day, or every week even, come and greet us, meet us, somehow associate and socialize with us? Now, regular updates would be great, if I might, not because he asked me, but because I think it's an accepted fact. You can get whatever reason you choose to use as to why it was, but Mr. Ezra Miller, only again because he would have been here had it not been for our discussion prior, and we want to say thanks to him for rescheduling, and on his behalf extend again a sincere apology that he wasn't able to join us more or ask than his. No, simply here's a gentleman that like people raised by a generation that he was raised by, even though there may not be that many years different between some of us and him. The fact is, thankfully, a lot of us are raised by people who have that same ethos, that same sort of approach to life, where discipline and respect, hard work, honesty, integrity, and the like are important. Honest days pay for an honest day's work is what they would always share. And when we think of this whole notion of where we are as a country, let's then ask some questions. Cayman is probably being positioned. It may be such that other countries and governments and people here and other places are probably looking and say, wow, very enviable. But hopefully not in a way that they want to be destructive and derogatory, or when they say that, but in a way of what can we do to sort of copy that thing that they're doing. And in so doing, are we mindful that if you're at the top of the hill, what happens? Well, if you're not careful, you get pushed off. If you're not careful, you fall and you go down. But if you always believe that you're an upward climb, that wherever you are, you can always get better, then maybe when you think you've reached the summit, well, maybe you haven't. Maybe you can enjoy the success and share in the reward of that particular accomplishment, but always try to raise the bar. So in what we're doing in Cayman presently, are we being truthful with each other and with ourselves and in our actions? Are we being rushed to do certain things? Are we being too hesitant in not doing what probably is what we should be doing? Is there an agenda that we don't even know is being sort of laid on the table? And is it that there are things right before us, they're very obvious, and we're so oblivious to it that we're not even able to do anything even after the fact because we've been caught so off guard? Now, as I say that, let me ask, What is your view as we invite you to share your thoughts? 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. What is your view on where we are and what we should be doing? Now, it's probably easy or easier to find fault in things, to comment and complain. Sometimes that's necessary because in that might give someone an idea as to what the problem is, because they might have been unaware. It might actually, promote and stimulate discussion relative to potential solutions. But if we are quiet because we have either experienced it firsthand, have heard about it and believe it to be the case, that people who complain, who speak out, who stand up, who say something, they're intimidated, they're victimized. They're treated in such a way that, have you ever been told, look at that, did that good thing for that person only to get kicked in the teeth? It has happened to many, and at some point they say, nope, won't do that again. Not only for that person, but for anybody else. Then there are those of us who said, you know what, it happened this time, but next time it will be different. I just can't make this one bad experience sour me, so I don't try to help others. And it happens again and again and again and again. Some of us never ever stop trying because we believe that even one person in a million, one person in a billion is worth it. Some of us goes, one and done. That's it. I'm not doing that again. To each his own. So let's think about something. And when we come back from the break, are we a people filled with cowardice? Are we so afraid of our own shadows that we say nothing? And I believe, what was that Kenny Rogers song about the coward of the county? Well, at one point he stood up, right? Took his licks, gave them equally. Those don't have to be physical licks. All right, recognize that. But I believe we are a people of courage. We're a people of great resolve and resilience. It's not just us who have generational collections. It's us who have consciously made this our home. We always hear increasingly, the need for love, but are we showing it? We always hear the need to stand up and be united, but are we doing it? When we point fingers and we castigate, are we equally doing something, disastrous for us, but worse for future generations? So let's pause and take a break. When we come back, who's going to be the one to lead us off? And who's going to be the one that, when they come for me, whether it's me or you, when they come for me, going to stand and say, well, wait a minute, you can't do that. He didn't do anything wrong. And even if it was offensive to you, well, too bad. The right thing was done and said, so we can stand together. And maybe we all go down, but we go down because we believe that what was just and right and honorable was said and done. Or do we just, keep our heads in our shells like the turtle, or as we call it, the Hecate? Because guess what? Stick it out. You know what happens, right? All right, take that break and join us when we come back. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the Falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years,
so much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Dress for success and demonstrate school pride by learning and following the National Dress Code policy and the specific dress code for each government school. Under the National Dress Code policy, boys' hair must be cut short and of natural color. Uniform shirts must be neatly tucked in, undergarments concealed, sneakers or shoes black, and jewelry limited to a wristwatch. Take pride in your stride today. View the complete dress code policy at www.education.gov.ky. This is a message from the Ministry of Education.
Oh, Cayman moon.
The voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
Shining down from above.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. 949-8837, 1-800-534-8255. It's open line as we invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. And wonder to what extent we are indeed trying to not just sail our own catboat, but put it a weatherboard, not just for the person to come on board for a good afternoon of sailing, but the company, but also the opportunity to convey people so that together we get somewhere safely and on time. Well, how many of us are either A, just looking out for ourselves, don't care about anybody else, or B, are afraid to do anything because end of the day we don't think it'll make a difference, or if it does, it may cause us something or cause us to lose something. We have to spend some time or money to get that thing which would be good for others, but it's going to be at our expense, our time or money or otherwise. Well, it's not really who we are and what we should be if it is. Now, it's not about being idealistic, hopefully not even naive, or not even an endeavor to be noble, but it's about the reality. Take, for instance, the growing concern about our environment, the discussions that many have had about the destruction of the mangroves over the years. And yet, for some people, it is a discussion that's only for them, whoever they are that we've assigned that label to. It is, sad that at times we don't see that in order to strike that healthy balance between our work and our play, that work-life balance that we talk about, we fail miserably and others don't take up, and try to improve. We probably have to ask ourselves, are we failing to do that balance between sustainable long-term development, population growth, societal harmony, and the financial prosperity? Maybe because we're looking at the accounting costs as opposed to the economics of it all. And in so doing, we can account as best as we can for the impacts of our actions, but also our inactions. They say a lie is either by commission or omission. Now, many of us can do both and don't even bat an eyelash. Is it, as some have shared, that we don't even care anymore about others and the hurt that we've caused for them? The fact that I was, awake all through the night could be because you were hungry, because you were so exhausted you couldn't sleep, or it could be that you realize that sometimes, that thing which you desire and want isn't, the thing that is attainable because of the sacrifice you call to make to self. And, we have to then be prepared to walk a road where maybe that lone voice in the wilderness isn't sufficient. Maybe the burden is too heavy for one to carry. Well, take the government that we've elected, whether this time or the past, or if we continue to labor on the health of democracy, the ones that we will elect in the future, where are we as the voters becoming engaged and involved to help to instruct and inform, be able to assist and ensure that the decisions reflect us, our views and values, and what we believe are in the best interests? Or are we going to continue to point fingers and label and malign and talk about special interests when they're only doing what they're organized to do, look out for their interests? And then as we grow our population and as we have sort of almost, some would say insidiously, given up so much of our freedoms, so much of the things that we would do for ourselves, the responsibilities, when the consequences are known and felt, will it be too late? For instance, let's ask a very, poignant question that may be emotive for some. Others, it may be very practical. But we have people living in our midst who've been here for a long time, and they've contributed to our society. Now the question should be asked, is it because they've been here for an uninterrupted period of time, on a permit, on a license of sort, that tenure in and of itself should not qualify them for some level of status, immigration status, citizenship? Or should it just be the fact that, you bought a ticket to go on the ride, the ticket is for 10 rides, whether you do them all at one time or you do them over 10 consecutive times, or after the 10th time, that's it. Now for some say, because of tenure, you've been here for a period of time, that should be enough. But then the question is, why is it then that we have people here and we for some reason either have failed to invite them, to assist them into integrating, to acclimating, to being incorporated in our society so that this is home. And when we look at each other, we point the fingers, oh, that's them. I don't feel like them. They don't feel like us. Well, if we're one and Sunday and we're united, could we not be better? And then when people are here, should it not be that we are inviting them, that they are allowed, they have the right to participate in our elections, not only to cast a vote, but to stand for elections and to be elected into now what we've called in our House of Parliament. We have many names that we've ascribed to many positions that would sound like an independent nation. I say this without any sense of malice or respect. That isn't due. With the greatest of respect. Where's the premier? Is that a word that we should be using, as opposed to maybe some say chief minister or some other term? But why should we use it? And should we not be thinking of a level of independence, as it were, financial as well as political independence, but not because of some selfish ambition or some axe to grind, but because we're prepared to be responsible as a child becoming of age, not at 18 or 21, but because a time has passed and there's a certain level of education and experience, not just a piece of paper, but life education and experience that positions them to become more independent, but never so independent that the child never interacts with parents or siblings or the community. No man is an island, we're told. And then on top of that, Chief Justice, even the Speaker of the House, words like Parliament, there are many words. We have a cabinet. Well, it's not the one in our kitchens or in our bathrooms or other places, but this is a body of people that, politically speaking, are designated to be able to make significant, decisions that impact their lives, not just through policies, but regulations that attach to laws. And if those regulations can come outside of the legislative body, the parliament, now where is the real power? It can't, go towards the legislation, but it can be so exhaustive and inclusive that it creates significant power. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Let's go to the phones and welcome this caller. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, my good friend Dwayne.
My good friend, how are you today, man?
I'm fine.
Good to hear you, man. Good to hear from you.
Dwayne, I went today because it's last day for vaccination to get my vaccine.
Yeah. They had your name on it.
I went first to Bodentown. They say they closed. So I went to Kaimana Bay after. And I found them closed. I found about 10 people standing by the door there. They want to get vaccinated, but they can't. They find nobody there. So I drive to West Bay. They say until 4 o'clock. So I said, how in the world all these clinics, they're not, there is a lot of nurse working in every clinic. And it don't need a doctor, to go and get vaccinated. It's a nurse give you the shot and that's it. It takes not less than 5 minutes. And I tell them, this is no. I am not leaving until I get vaccinated. And the nurse said, just come, me and other guy. We went there and she gave us the shot and we vaccinated. But my question today to the health authority and the government and the minister in particular, if we want to reach 80%, why in the world, that you wait until 4 o'clock in the evening to back all of these people coming to get vaccinated? When you find 10 people waiting in Kaimana Bay, they want to vaccinate it, and they can't find nobody to give them the shot. And you go Bodentown, they close, and they have a security sitting there getting pay in Bodentown for just sitting in an empty place. For what? I mean, if this country really want to reach the 80%, they should open every day in every clinic. They have the vaccine, the nurses there, they just fill the form. It takes 10 to 15 minutes in total, and you get the shot, and that's it. I mean, how this government saying they want to open the border and they want this country 80% to be vaccinated, and there is no place is open during the day. People come in from Eastern District, for example, they can go to town 4 o'clock after they finish work and they're tired, and they can go to all the way to West Bay or the Kaimana Bay will open tomorrow at 11. So why in the world this is happening in the health authority? That's a very shameful, ridiculous, and irresponsible from the health authority that they not open. They are claiming the public not coming. But I find 10 people front of Kaimana Bay Center alone. Imagine how many people go into other places and they find them closed. And then you ball all these people in one time, and then you make a crowd and traffic. And we hear about people are broken their quarantine. Last month, a big amount of people are broken their quarantine. And I think the government needs to put 2-year sentence for anyone come to this country, put the life of the people in danger. And it's ridiculous how in the world you allow somebody coming from any country to come here and put people life in danger, like you go in with a disease and you want to spread it all over the place. This is a small island. If this Delta, the bad stage of corona, spread, we have too much elderly people in Cayman. Who will protect this country from Delta? Where the space in any hospital could hold big amount of people, God forbid, if they get this disease in Cayman. The health authority needs to put their thing together and open in every clinic, in every district, that the nurse, anytime somebody comes, should get the shot. It's ridiculous in the last day, or tomorrow last day, and you are closed all day until 4 o'clock. What the question is, if you don't have enough nurses, try get some nurses from the private hospitals to be working for a period of time until this vaccination finish. There is a way how you can do things, but it seems it's the lazy way all the time, and it's ridiculous. It is becoming very ridiculous that you want to go to any clinic, you need appointment, they give you appointment after 1 month. There is a lot of issue in the health authority. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. If I didn't insist that I get the shot, they will not give me.
You make some other points as usual, and some people will be inclined to listen to you. Hey, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts.
Dwayne,
yes, sir.
The second thing, that far away from health issue, it is, again, I want to speak about the public transport. It is becoming shameful, ridiculous in this country that we don't have a reliable transportation system in Cayman. And it's becoming ridiculous that there is nobody controlling those bad drivers. Nobody is, one day you see the inspector in the road, and the second 3, 4, 5 days, no inspector in the road. So why is this government paying the public transport from the director to the smallest one? Why they paying them money to do their job and they're not doing it?
A question that probably should not go unanswered. With anything else, where is the level of responsibility and accountability and engagement and involvement? Hey, thank you for that, sir. With great respect, let's just pause and take a short break. We'll talk today.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
Bro, do you really have to eat 2 sandwiches for lunch?
No, but one is for dinner. On Tuesdays at Subway, you can get the 2 subs for any size, plus a fountain drink for the price of 1.
Nah, Bobo, that sounds too good to be true. For real though, 2 subs for the price of 1 and a drink?
Each and every Tuesday now until September 28th. Buy any Subway sandwich in any size and a 32-ounce fountain drink and get an equal or lesser value sub for free. For every 2 for Tuesday purchase, be entered to win one of 3 LG 50-inch 4K smart TVs. a Grill Pro, or one of 2 retro bikes, plus many more prizes. Subway's 2 for Tuesdays is in partnership with Pepsi and Progressive Distributors. Prize drawing is September 30th. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed, or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
Radio Cayman, the voice,
the heart,
the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. In the studio, sitting opposite me behind the double insulated pane is the wonderful company of Susan, who engineers it all behind the scenes. Well, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261, 949-6990. It's a good number to call, not just to make requests, but in case you use it as sort of a backup, you can't access the other lines. Other way to make a request is the same one that you can use as a WhatsApp to record a voice note or share a thought with us. 925-3261. I was asked by a small group of individuals just to sort of relay their sentiments. And what I said in sort of closing as I was leaving to return to the studio was that I understand, I hear what they're saying, but it's not good enough. Not because of them, but because of the acceptance in our society. That if someone calls up publicly, say on a talk show, which we're expecting that there should be some sense of freedom to speak, not just share a thought, but do so responsibly and respectfully. That should be an accepted practice. But not all of us can speak in a certain way that may not seem, inflammatory. We may be hopefully doing it to encourage and inspire dialogue, but the tone may be different. I'll share with you when we take this caller first. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Dwayne. Good afternoon. I heard that Susan was okay. She now and I heard it. She told me that, and she feel blessed. And
Amen.
I know you were the same.
Amen. 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 Even when I'm not, I will be.
Oh yes. We can't count our blessings,
Yep.
It's too many.
That is true.
We can't count like that. We can't count that high.
Nope. Nope, not at all.
Anyway, this is what I wanted to say. Now, I respect Amjad to a certain extent of what he was saying, okay? But I feel this is my feelings now. Now, Amjad seemed to be listening to the radio. Now, when they're going to be in certain districts and when they're going to be at Camana Bay, they announce the times. It's not an everyday thing. We know that. And they only have a certain amount of nurses to do that. And I wonder why. Should it all come from HSA? No. We have 3 hospitals. And I feel like this. My feelings is that, okay, this is where they're making their business. Why not lend a helping hand with a certain amount of nurses at the same time or different times as HSA? I feel that we're blessed. We're more than blessed that we have the vaccine. We don't have to pay for it like many other countries, even here in the Caribbean. What we need to do is to put down some restrictions, like the stipend. Now, if we had people to check on this stipend that is given out, we'll find out that it is people that is working and still collecting the stipend. I also feel, and I've said this many times, that we should not be hiring anybody from overseas, which is mostly the hotels that, in tourism, that is coming here, and they come here to get a free vaccination, and then when they get here, they get stipend. That should be the look out of the hotels that hire them. I also feel that we've been locked down now nearly two years. Okay, our borders haven't been open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take that time. If every hotel that I've been into, and I've been in a few except the Ritz-Carlton, who served me?
Mm-hmm.
The foreign worker. This should be the time now, and this I'm going to address to our Minister of Tourism, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Okay, he's new to the whole deal. People like me and Peter that have been into tourism, and other people, we need to try to help him and to sort of guide him that we need our people that want to be trained in tourism should be trained by the foreign staff that are the managers of those places, general managers of those places and restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Hire from overseas to train our people. I heard Mr. Murray the other day talking about people, Caymanians that have been in tourism but then just need a little bit of brushing up. I know for a fact that he do not hire Caymanians.
Mm-hmm.
So how are they going to be brushing up if they don't hire, since they got so much trained staff to help these people along that want to be in tourism? It can only happen here, because other little islands, even Turks and Caicos, they have put a foot down. If we check in to who is receiving stipend, we would be shocked. Those people are still working. Those people are still working. You go around to these hotels, Kimpton have nothing but foreign staff, and other hotels have nothing but foreign staff. So where are they getting off from about we gonna hire Caymanians?
Right.
That is only a gap so they can continue to bring the foreign staff down here that do not respect nor our ways, our culture, or anything.
All right. Respectfully, Ma'am, we have the news break, so let us just quickly pause so that if you wish to hold on and engage us after, if not, call back. But thank you so much for your share. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government is alerted to a possible locally transmitted case of COVID-19. Conclusive test results are expected later today after a patient was admitted into the hospital with symptoms Wednesday evening. The patient has no travel history. In international news, some 200 people, including Americans, have flown out of Kabul in the first such operation since U.S. forces left the country. The Qatar Airways charter flight is now en route to the Qatari capital, with a second flight due on Friday. U.S. Secretary of State urged help with evacuations during a recent visit to Qatar. Hundreds of Afghan citizens who had helped the U.S. military were unable to get out in last month's U.S. airlift. U.S. President Joe Biden on Thursday will impose more stringent vaccine rules on federal workers by signing an executive order requiring all government employees be vaccinated against COVID-19, with no option of being regularly tested to opt out, according to a source familiar with the plans. During a major speech meant to lay out a new approach to combating the coronavirus, the president will also sign an executive order directing the same standard be extended to employees of contractors who do business with the federal government. And China will provide almost $31 million worth of food, winter weather supplies, vaccines, and medicine to Taliban-controlled Afghanistan, China's foreign ministry said Wednesday. A spokesperson for the foreign ministry said the decision was announced during the first meeting of the foreign ministers of Afghanistan's neighboring countries and would be, quote, for emergency use to the Afghan people. The foreign minister also announced that China will donate 3 million vaccine doses to Afghanistan in the first batch. It is not clear when the vaccines are scheduled to be delivered. Those are your latest headlines here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. It is open line 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Return to the caller. Thank you very much, Mom, for staying on. As you were sharing, though, we should be leading by example, no?
Exactly, Dwayne. We should be. And while you had on the news, you know what I just heard? Joe Biden say, and I consider him a respectable, educated president of the United States. And you know nearly everything we're getting is from the United States. Say that he wants every government employee to be vaccinated.
Yeah, the federal employees,
they're making it mandatory, okay? So what is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? People receiving stipend, and they'll tell you straight out, and I got no vaccine. Then the same thing goes for some of our people here in West Bay and other places in the island. They're sitting on the trees. It's so much work to be done to go and clean up people's yard that can't afford it, or they're the elderly, or whatever the case may be. Yet they're eating Kentucky, Popeyes, and on, playing dominoes and enjoying life. Do they have the vaccine? Then we'll stop the stipend. Mm-hmm. If you don't try to abide by the rules, then we'll push it on you. Mm-hmm. The rules are rules, not rules for some people, and some people is getting away, and other people, they're trying to abide by the rules. That means that's not only hotels or foreign staff. That means our Caymanians too. That should go by. It's no good our representatives getting these rules, and we breaking them all the time. Mm-hmm. And another thing, we should not allow people to get on the radio and speak about the vaccine or anything like that, because that is going bad on us, that HSA is trying their level best. They are doctors. They know about science. Not the people that get on the radio and say you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. That's against human rights, and that's against. But where are the rights for those people that get the vaccine and then the people that didn't get it? Because we're told, scientists say, you can still get the COVID-19, but it wouldn't be as bad and you'll survive. I mean offices, I mean government, I mean hotel. Don't let them enter here in this island to work or anything else until they can show that they're vaccinated. I could go on and on. I thank you, and I thank you, and I thank Susan.
You're welcome,
Let me say my little piece today.
You're most welcome, on. Thank you, too. And let's take the other caller. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
All right now.
Blessed, man. How are you?
Not bad.
I think of the angel and he appears. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. And just listening to the last caller talk about who should and shouldn't be able to have free speech.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering to myself whether we became a dictatorship after the governor's comments yesterday.
Well, you know what is unfortunate, right? I reference a discussion that I had with some people earlier. And increasingly, and I say this carefully, but hopefully, people will appreciate that there are so many of us who would like to use you, me, Susan, George, Peter, Mike, John, anybody else to do a bidding. And as soon as, the foot hits the fire, the first one's gone, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that we appreciate that a democracy has to be championed and there has to be an active, very deliberate, conscious effort to promote and preserve it and to protect it.
It requires that we. What is the saying regarding preserving a democracy? You remember it?
No, remind us.
All right. Well, eternal vigilance is what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
You will defend your rights every single day, or they will be taken away from you. All right? So I'm here to defend freedom of expression. All right? We were just told that certain people shouldn't be able to say certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the reason the right to freedom of expression exists in the Cayman Islands Constitution order is to prevent the government from preventing private citizens from expressing themselves freely.
Mm-hmm.
Radio Cayman is an agency of government, which means that Radio Cayman can't prevent people from exercising their right to freedom of expression. And when we are talking about something that deals with threatening our lives and that we have to make decisions, if this is not an appropriate time in which we can express ourselves to government, can you tell me which other time would be more appropriate?
But then why is it, right, that if you'd allow me to use you as an example, if that's okay.
That's all
right. And let's go back to the constitutional, NGO working party from the 90s, when presumably there were some options on the table that only became known to the general public after, again, so the people like yourselves were willing to make the effort and inform the populace that, hey, these are the things that you went before the United Nations and made an address, right? Hopefully I'm not mistaken in my recollection.
No.
Okay. And yet we see these things and we see people, even though I hold you in high esteem, you would quickly probably, and more so than others, look at yourself as just a regular guy, although we think that you are much more than that, a real extraordinary fellow. But we take other people who really have nothing to offer. They come here, they smell bad, they look bad, they sound bad, they have nothing good to offer. We elevate them, right? and I mean, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I look in the mirror and I don't see the handsome fella that is my father or my brothers, right? I don't have any qualms about me not being that bad looking, but I understand the reality, and I'm yet to appreciate what is it going to take for a country like this, who is so positioned to be at the top of the hill, with so many great people who have served and sacrificed, not just those who go back generations, but those who have come and live and work amongst us and say, hey, let's find a way to work together. Let's stop castigating. Let's respect differences of opinion. If we have a shared objective, can you imagine me and you going fishing and we go in a catboat, but we want to go, 2 oars or 2 paddles, as they say. You on the left and I on the right, but we both going in different directions. You imagine what happen?
Right.
Or be too smart and we both rowing on the same side in the same place, but can't understand why we're going around circles.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No.
Okay. I mean, because that's what is happening.
Well, in the last days there will be confusion.
Why? Must be in the last days now.
I don't want to take it off into that.
No. Fair enough. Me though.
Just to keep it in context.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandfather didn't see active combat. He was in the Trinidad Merchant Marine.
Like my uncle, right? The Royal Navy. Yeah. The Trinidad thing. Yeah.
And on my late wife's side, I think it was her great grandfather.
Uh-huh.
He was a prisoner of war for 5 years.
Yep.
So the price that was paid to acquire the rights that we have today were paid by many people over generations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And so for us today to squander those rights with reckless comments like that, to me, is a tragedy.
Can you
But let me exercise that right now a little before we run out of time.
Right.
A lot of talk is taking place regarding the vaccine and how the vaccine is the solution.
Mm-hmm.
The vaccine is a preventative measure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very little thought is going into treatment. And the previous caller referenced the fact that people who are vaccinated could also contract the virus and also transmit it to others, whether the others are vaccinated or not. And so the idea around the policies that are being developed right now, of the policies that are internal to the Cayman Islands, I find to be a little bit irrational.
Mm-hmm.
Because the assumption is that if you're vaccinated, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you actually know you're not, because there is a percentage of people, and that number is growing because the effectiveness of this particular vaccine is waning.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the problem that you have with this vaccine is that it purports to code for only one of the proteins that are found in the virus, and a good number are found in the virus, not just the spike protein. And so if you put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, and rely on the fact that this one protein won't mutate, is, I think, a bit short-sighted, unless it's intentional that you get vaccine after vaccine after vaccine after vaccine. I could see that being a good business model, but it's not very convenient and affordable to the public. And on top of that, it doesn't address the fact that people can get sick even after having been vaccinated. So the question is, how much energy is the government putting into considering a treatment for those who will get sick after the fact, those who are vaccinated as well as unvaccinated? Meaning, there will always be a segment of our society for a time being, I would imagine, that will not be able to get vaccinated for very good reasons, and those who cannot, who are not eligible to be vaccinated, are children. And so if we don't have a treatment, then all that's really happening is they put you in a room and they tell you to wait it out. Well, the problem with that is that some people will progress to severe symptoms while others will not. Some won't have any symptoms at all. And the point that I'm making is that those who do progress to severe symptoms, we shouldn't be waiting until that happens. We should have a treatment that could be early, outpatient, to prevent the symptoms from progressing to severity and increasing the probability of killing the person. All right? Now, it's unfortunate that discussion isn't taking place, and the discussion about the need for people to take an active role in keeping themselves healthy on a daily basis, and ensuring that they don't have nutrient deficiencies, for example, vitamin D, where research shows that at least 80% of the people who have severe symptoms have a vitamin D deficiency. Now, I speak to a good number of people about vitamin D, and they are not even sure how much they should be taking on a daily basis. Right? I'll say it here. If you go to the Endocrine Society in the U.S., they recommend 4,000 international units a day. And so if you're working inside, even though you're working in a country where there's lots of sun, if you're not outside with a degree of clothing that allows the majority of the major muscles and upper body parts to be exposed directly to the sun, without sunscreen, not early in the morning, but in the hottest times of the day in order to get produce vitamin D naturally, then you should consider taking an organic supplement. And organic is really important because the synthetic ones don't work the same way as the organic molecules. And so what I would do if I was the government, the people who are sick right now, I would say to them, get some of the protocols that are being discussed and that is being heavily researched, especially in places like Mexico, Peru, and in India, because the first world countries are too good for that, and make it available to people who would wish to try it as an early treatment. Because the problem is that if you just sit there and say, well, we're not going to try it, when the borders open and the cases rise, is that the time you're going to try to figure out whether you can do something or not?
But the thing is that as I listen to you, like many times we talk about trying to close the gate after the horse is bolted, right? And the question is even how many of us actually even try to do that, because we say, boy, it's too late. If you are inclined, let me know now. Would you want to stay on and engage after the break?
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Let's pause and then we join the caller right after this break.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Aston Shedden Rutty, MBE 1990 to 1977. Aston Rutty was the first child born to Henry Watson Rutty, ISO JP, and Julia Ann Rutty Neelazari at Stake Bay, Cayman Brac. He attended school at Stake Bay and as a young teenager was sent to Jamaica to attend technical training school. On his return, he worked for his father, who was collector of customs for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. He eventually became the Sister Islands' first district commissioner. Mr. Rutty was married to Ruth Marin in 1931, and the couple had 4 children. Mr. Rutty is best remembered for his dedication and diligent work to rebuild the sister islands in the aftermath of the 1932 hurricane. He was involved in the construction of roads, the airport, government buildings, and much of the infrastructure of the sister islands. He served as an immigration and customs officer, as a judge, and after retiring from government in 1960 as a law agent. The Civic Center on the Bluff was named in his honor. Aston Shedinvati.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Bro, do you really have to eat 2 sandwiches for lunch?
No, but one is for dinner. On Tuesdays at Subway, you can get the 2 subs for any size, plus a fountain drink for the price of 1.
Nah, Bobo, that sounds too good to be true. For real though, 2 subs for the price of 1 and a drink?
Each and every Tuesday now until September 28th. Buy any Subway sandwich in any size and a 32-ounce fountain drink and get an equal or lesser value sub for free. For every 2 for Tuesday purchase, be entered to win one of 3 LG 50-inch 4K smart TVs, a Grill Pro, or one of 2 retro bikes, plus many more prizes. Subway's 2 for Tuesdays is in partnership with Pepsi and Progressive Distributors. Prize drawing is September 30th. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thanks for joining us. And thanks too for the champions in our society that serve diligently to pay attention, and to this caller in particular for his willingness to share publicly. Hey, thanks for holding on, man. Welcome back.
Thanks.
If you were sharing it, and if I could maybe even share with you a few things that I believe on one hand, we fail to appreciate that statement. A little learning is a dangerous thing, right? We even probably misquote and say a little knowledge. But then we're also willing to castigate anybody who has, and sadly nowadays it's called courage to think, but should just have the understanding that it's incumbent to think. Engage the brain before we open the mouth is what we were, used to wear on our hats at one point. But when they do, they're ostracized because maybe it's a question that they ask, maybe it's something that someone doesn't want to hear. There's also that difficulty that we have where maybe because the lack of training as to how to properly evaluate information, maybe it's a deliberate, deceptive way information is shared. Not so much an outward lie, but the omission of truth. We're not able to discern, right from wrong, make sense of nonsense. But when we look at things and we ask questions and go into it, we seem to have this increase in difficulty with differences of opinion.
Yeah. There's lots of reasons for that, though. I mean, some people are scared. Some people have alternate agendas. There's lots of reasons why people do the things they do. But, I mean, when one of the founding fathers was asked, what did you give us?
Mm-hmm.
His answer was a republic if you can keep it.
Mm-hmm. If you can keep it.
Yeah, if you can keep it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the operative phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see, active participation is required.
Right.
Democracy is not a spectator sport.
But so many of us seem to, and I've had unfortunately, with things being what they are, I used to have some interesting discussions with people that I share with them, that I have a very positive, respectful view of them. That's my, and they would talk openly, and they would share, and they would keep saying that, unfortunately, the people in a society are the ones that need to be engaged. Stop pointing fingers and start stepping up, speaking up, but do so, respectfully, civilly, and responsibly. And in the Cayman context, our problems are not that large. The solutions are not that difficult to find. And what we need to do really isn't that difficult if we're willing to do it.
Yeah. It takes courage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you always think, well, the world is against you and it's just you. What difference can you make?
Mm-hmm.
But, you story about David, and you tend to think of that as being something that is much larger than life.
Mm-hmm.
But you shouldn't really underestimate your effort, right? And the necessity of participation. Because think about it from the perspective of a politician. I know that some people would normally think that all politicians mean bad, but I don't think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ones who mean good are there saying, well, I need your feedback. I need to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
We are required to consult with the public. So, when they engage the public, then the least we could do is interact and talk about what our concerns are, share our feelings. But the thing is that people need to actually understand their rights.
Right.
Because the reason that's important is it's like going to a football game and not understanding the rules, but you want to play. Right? Well, you're going to be at a disadvantage if you're playing by rules and you're constantly being called out by the referee because you're breaking rules.
Right. And maybe you come on the football team, you dress as a cricketer, and you're bringing a baseball or a basketball.
That's right.
But let me ask, as we go into the break, only if you wish to respond because you think it's appropriate. We probably can say many of us listen, watch, or somehow paid attention to the briefing yesterday. Doesn't mean we all heard the same thing or understood or came away with the same thing. You referenced earlier the governor's comments, and with great deference to the office of the governor. Would you want to either repeat verbatim, if you can, or paraphrase what it was that you heard him say that led you to conclude that are we now no longer laboring under democracy?
That we might have to consider mandating the vaccine.
Yeah. So very succinctly,
here's the difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
The classical way of doing vaccines been proven over time, tested, backed up by long-term research, right? Now, it's not the classical way of doing vaccines is not perfect either.
Right.
But the point that I'm making is that we're introducing a new technology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Right.
And no, we don't have long-term research to back it up, contrary to what some people think.
Because time itself hasn't passed to sufficient allow the data over time, right?
In fact, if you go to clinicaltrials.gov, which is a UK site, a US site at which all of the clinical trials are listed, you will find out that the people who are taking the vaccine right now are in a clinical trial. And that is running until May 2023, I think it is. And so what I'm saying is that, it's fine if that's what people want to do, right? But that when you're talking about a drug that's new, you got to realize there's no uninstall button.
Yeah, right.
When you put that there,
even the
and if it happens not to agree with you, you're going to have problems.
Yeah. The CDC's own website says, the words clinical trials, and it's something that to advance science, there's going to be some cost to people, and that may mean that they'll give the ultimate sacrifice like many have in wars. But
I agree.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, maybe that's part of why we put the regimen in place, to keep people in check, as people have speculated, and in the absence of credible information from people that we believe we can trust. You know, we live in a world where we are so distrustful of governments, of politicians, of church leaders, of businesses, of our parents, of our teachers. Because why? We lie, cheat, and steal all the time, right? No longer is there ethics.
That's a good point you make, because we're in a period in time in which there's a distrust, and this whole thing has occurred in that time, which exacerbates the challenges of getting things done properly.
Right.
Now, I know that I'm going to wrap this up now, but I know that there are people who just want to just get on with the program because they can't be bothered with it.
Right.
That's the way you feel, you knock yourself out. But you have to understand that when you take the step to say that this is going to be required whether you like it or not, you better make sure that what you're doing is correct. And there is evidence to suggest that we need to look at treatment, not just the vaccine for the time being, because people who have been vaccinated, the number of people are increasing. People who are dying are increasing.
Even though the vaccinated numbers are going up.
The numbers are going up. And this is on the UK's website. You know, they just present it in a way that's hard for people to see it. But
typical.
In other words, if I say that the number of deaths for Georgetown, East End, Northside, Kim and Brack is 4, 14, 27, and whatever, and instead of just giving a total where I could see what the net effect is, if you don't go and add those numbers up, you won't see it.
Right. And many people are not willing, right? I always appreciate it. And as we go into the break, you know, in the US, and this is the US, right? We label on the UK's stuff, but many of us put great credence in the US. But the FDA, as at the 31st of July this year, reminds us that, you know, there are 630 plus. So is that 639 or 631? But drug development programs in planning stages, 460 thereabouts trials that have been reviewed by this FDA. 11 COVID-19 treatments are currently authorized for emergency use, and one treatment currently approved by the US's Food and Drug Administration, the same ones that approves the cosmetics and all of this stuff, for use in this treatment that they got everybody under. All right, let's pause and take that break. And when we come back, we'll talk today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Save every day with FedEx. Get 40% off when you ship using FedEx International Priority and an additional 5% off on your next shipment. Visit us. Visit FedEx.com /Caribbean discount to learn more.
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands. If traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing vaccinecertification@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
We are now in the hurricane season, and to survive a hurricane, you need to be informed. If you have been informed by official sources that a hurricane is approaching the Cayman Islands, and you live in a low-lying area that is prone to flooding or near the beaches, which may be swept by high tides or storm waves, please seek a safe place and high ground. If the only way for you to get to a safe place is a road that is also likely to be flooded during a storm, please leave home early. Don't run the risk of being stranded. This has been a public service announcement from your community station, Radio Cayman.
Census 2021. Cayman, get ready. Census starting 10th of October 2021. Census West Bay, you ready? Census East End, we coming. Census everyone will be counted. Census 2021. Census but in town, are you ready? Census Georgetown, we coming. Census your info will be secret. Northside, get ready. Census Rockers will be counted. Census Little Cayman, we coming. Census people, get ready. Census 2021. Census todos se cuentan. Census Latinos serán contados. Filipinos Makanda. 2021 Census. Papa, are you ready? Census Mama will be counted. Census children and toddlers. Census 2021 Census information is secret. Census 2021 Census starting October 10th. 2021 Census. 2021 Census. Census. Census.
2021 Census. Everyone counts.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks too for joining us as we go back straight to the phones. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling. How are you today? Hello, good afternoon. All right, we've got a couple of callers on line, and it's a matter of time before we get them all. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, Mr. Dean.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm cool, man. Everything good, though?
You know, it is and it isn't. How are things with you, man?
Same way.
There you go, man.
Yeah. Oh, just to add on to the last caller, right? Let's understand something here, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A virus don't really want you dead.
How you mean?
You know, a virus, especially like a flu virus like this, it won't just keep on spreading and spreading.
Mm.
So what happens is like, you know, sometimes people just too weak, you know, to keep on keeping on.
Okay, so basically if you, as the host, dies, then the virus got to really find something else, is what you're saying. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like you're probably more going to spread it when you're feeling real bad, like you're probably on your way then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a virus don't ever want you to like really die. The host, it can't live without the host. So, you know, when it's still in the host, it got time to mutate, adapt, all this, and spread itself. You understand? Because the main purpose in life, any life, is to reproduce.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So, when you got something like what the last caller was saying, where you got to keep on getting a booster or getting a shot like that, really going just like the shot going to take over your ability, your natural ability to fight the virus, right? So, I mean, like you say, in nature, everything has a positive and a negative. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, different things in the world or the plant biology is definitely made to kill this virus. You understand? Like ascorbic acid. You know, that run out all the flu, all the phlegm in you. You know, I got one tree here that from the Philippines that kills. Like if you got a cold, you boil them leaves. All that cold that run right out of you. Coming whichever way, coming out of the mouth or coming sweat, any which way, it have to come out of you. You know what I mean? So I don't get nobody wrong if they want to take the vaccine, you know, but you know, this you know, plus you see I'm trying to coerce you into getting the vaccine with the lottery. Like, I mean, that's, you know, and plus look, people desperate. Who wouldn't go take the vaccine and try to get a shot at getting all that money? Who would it? I mean, me, I don't need the money. See? I definitely don't want the vaccine, so I don't know what they got left up their mind, you know. Plus, this other companies that making these vaccines, you know, they up to some really tricky stuff. You know what I mean? The other day they were you know, the EpiPen for the diabetes. They went up on it $600 so that they could go back down $300. When it's a normal thing like that, it's $100.
Well, it's like, you know, long ago in some jurisdictions they have this sort of advertising legislation that you can't say something's on sale if it hadn't been at that price for a particular period of time. And allegedly, you know, some merchants, you know, in these jurisdictions would, the item is at $10 today, they put it up to $20 to say now it's marked off, you know, 50%, and still sell it back at the $10 it was all along. The consumer saying, oh, half off, you know, I should buy it. When in fact it was just sitting on the shelves and almost near its expiry date. So we're not informed, and we're not probably encouraged to ask questions, and probably when we do, we're maligned for so doing. I mean, we ask our teachers to instruct their children so they become critical thinkers and learners, and when they do and ask questions, we assign, you know, malicious labels to them like conspiracy theories. You know, we talk about them being anti-vaxxers. Another, you know, copy from another jurisdiction of words that are being used so irresponsibly around the world that we no longer think for ourselves. I find it, as the caller before maybe asked, are we living in that time of confusion?
Definitely. Definitely, because everything that is good is bad.
Yeah. I remember walking through my house once not long ago, and on the television there was some stupid show, like most that's come onto that dumb screen these days, in my view. You know, a friend called it One-Eye Monster, and I tell you, he was right about it. The host talk about, you know, and this stuck with me. I'm just walking from one space to the next, and the space isn't that big. He said, what? You know, remember now the rules are bad is good and good is bad. And that struck me like revelation time, you know. Bad is good and good is bad. So I'm thinking, if we're conditioning our people and so insidiously indoctrinating them in these things, what do we expect?
What should you expect? And then every part of the rebels, they never get to say what really they are rebels for.
Yeah, man.
Understand? They never really get to fully conclude what their mission is. You understand? They always get If it's not brought down by the person they're going against, it's brought down by their peers.
Yeah, but rebel and radical, freedom fighter and anarchist. I mean, sometimes it's just a matter of perspective and who is controlling the narrative, all right? And please be mindful that for me, like in a classroom setting, I honestly enjoyed when the teacher would have such an engagement with the students and say, okay, Johnny, what's your view? And Johnny would say something, and Susie, what's your view? And there would be a discussion, because beforehand, we're going to read a passage and then we're going to talk about it. Now, that was not the same for everybody. Some students liked, teacher, tell us what we got to think, and write it on the blackboard, and then you copy it down, you put the comma exactly with the teacher, and then, when the question was asked again, you presented it exactly like how it was. Even the same curl that the teacher may have written with the L or the little flag with the Y. Is for some of us, we said, okay, this is what was said, but guess what? This is what we think. So that teacher that encouraged that level of independent thought and dialogue, to me, was a great class. But for other people, it was the worst thing, because there was no structure and organization. You weren't being spoon-fed.
Right, but if you don't have a mind that, like what you said, like is just ready to take orders, you're breeding a rebel. Now, to have a systematic system that we have here, like I say system, I mean that it's planned to the T. It's planned for everything. Them roundabouts, everything is made for you to lose gas, made for you to lose tires. Everything round here is, and I never seen anything so complete anywhere else in the world other than this place. So I watched this place first, and then I looked at the rest of the world, and I can almost guarantee you that people are following this place, and I wondered why. I always wondered why, and it always leads me back to this money influence. And when it comes to having rebels that will disrupt your system of control, they would do anything to sort that rebel out. And I say anything, I mean anything. And I am not talking no lies, like what you said about being ostracized for talking the truth. Yeah, you can hear right now, the dog don't like me, you understand?
My friend, let us laugh with that as we take this quick break. And thank you for your thoughts. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. B.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. And we'll pause, and then when we come back, who's going to share with us? Stay tuned.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Census 2021. Came on, get ready. Census starting 10th of October 2021. Census information is secret. Census 2021. Census starting October 10th. 2021. Census 2021. Census.
2021 Census. Everyone counts.
Each Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of The Business Buzz is brought to you by Optical Outlook. Visit them at their new location in Anderson Square. Telephone 746-2020. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know that you must discard fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, foods in canisters, dented, leaking, or rusting cans after they have come in contact with floodwater? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. It is open line as we go straight to our phones. Welcome. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm just saying hi.
You just saying hi? So, come on now. You got to do better now. You got to sing for me. I just call to say I got some breadfruit for you. No?
So, say that again.
Was that song? Isn't that how it goes? I just call to say I got some breadfruit for you. Is that how it goes, right? That's the lyrics, right?
Fun of me now.
No. Right. I wouldn't do that to you. I might laugh at myself, but not at you. I laugh with you.
Okay. That's okay. Not saying a word to you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, that lady took my breadfruit to you with her when she was going.
We talk when you're ready.
Best breadfruit tree in the whole country. You know? That was the best breadfruit tree in the whole country. Asking about it.
I don't know, boy. I think the one in my mom's backyard.
Yeah. But I had 3 trees.
Yeah.
One was called Big Man. The other one was called Giant. And that one was Tiny. But you know, can get that. Because you got West Bay. And you can ask them Georgetowners of a certain age. That's a powerful combination. Big Man, Giant and Tiny. Yeah, but Giant and Tiny going back. Still got Big Man out there.
All right. I'll pay attention.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for me, my breadfruit. That's okay. I cried though, but that's okay.
There you go. All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Hi and bye. Let's go to the lines. Good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
Good afternoon. Is this Mr. Platinum or is this Superstar Platinum?
Sometimes maybe I should look at myself in a certain way, but my parents christened me Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and some days I'll be honest with you, boy, I'm so glad that no matter my missteps, I feel like the days are all diamond, even though they might just be in a rough.
But I know that it wasn't one subject that you studied. I know that.
Life is about experiencing, and it's about learning. Life is about being gracious and grateful, but it's also about having a sense of humility, because oftentimes I don't think that we appreciate that, what is it that we often hear? Hair is the head that hangs the crown, right?
But I want to ask something, though. Do we have any proof that there is absolutely any Caymanian that designed things like car parts or aircraft?
I only know from what was shared with me personally that there are many sort of budding inventors and designers and the like who have come up with little things that they're tinkering and thinking, and some have even considered and may have since then applied for some level of intellectual property protection. But to know that there is a product on the market, either in development stages, that is attributed to a Caymanian having developed specifically for aircraft and the like, I don't think so. But then, of course, I would never be the first to tell you that I know anything about everything or everything about anything.
Yeah, I can tell you what I am sure of, but I don't think that will ever be known. There was a man who said that we're going to make America great again. And there's another man who said we want to make Cayman great again. But neither of those gentlemen are in office right now, to my knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I hear you. I hear you. And I think it's in order to be great again, you need to be great to begin with. Let's go to the next line, eh? Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine. How are you doing, Bo?
General Rachel, man. How are you?
Good, man. Watching the October skies coming in early September.
Yeah. I've seen it early.
That's good news, man. That's good news.
I hope so. Hope you're right about that.
Beat the heat. Anything to beat the heat.
Well, Yep.
You sound like you're worried about something.
Worried about something. Boy, if it's only one thing, it wouldn't be so bad,
Yeah. Are you worried about the weather, man?
Yeah. I've been blessed to be so positioned that I get informed by those who know, and even those who, I think they know.
Yeah. Well, put it this way. I'm not a meteorologist, but I've been kind of studying the weather for several years.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed again, we start to get that little north flow breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime you see that north flow breeze coming, my friend,
Mm-hmm.
there's a pretty good chance that you don't have a lot to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of waiting to the middle of September.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll get a more true reading of what my assumption would be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that lady before she said something about Tiny. I was on the ship with her, or he was on the ship with me, whatever. Tiny McField, in 1964.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Dias, Paul Alfred E. Banks, and Captain Dalton, Jimmy, and Boogie from Northside. A lot of Caymanians on good days,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, getting that $95 a month. We're glad to get it.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
I went a long way too, huh?
Oh my God, yeah.
A long way.
You make sure you stay there the 365, not 364 days, or if not, he will spread the rumor. He really didn't stand the steady year. He's probably a couple of days short, so that was a downer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just gotta say one more thing now about the. I heard someone talking about the jobs for the virus,
and
I asked that to a doctor maybe 2 weeks ago, and some other supposedly professional people that are anti-vaccine. And you can give me your opinion as well if you care to. If the world had stood still with their arms full and tried to do absolutely nothing about it, wait and see what you think would have been the results this day, until this day now. They have done nothing. What do you think would have been the results of the world?
In relation to trying to develop treatment protocols, vaccines for some of the things like polio and the like, is that specifically? I want to make sure I understand you. Is that what you're asking?
No. If they did absolutely nothing about trying to get a vaccine for the virus, if they just stay put and say, oh, well, it's going to go away and you take care of your health, what do you think would have been the results?
Yeah, I think what has probably made it even more challenging, conflicting, and confusing is that even the official sources, whether it's the WHO or the entities in the US, for instance, when they say something and then shortly after they, sort of add to it, whether you want to say a correction because they made a misstep. And then when you have physicians asking questions as scientists, it's probably worse when the media, being unskilled and ill-informed, repeat things because of whatever bias or objectives that may be. But we as a people, out of fear and without little knowledge and learning, rather irresponsible repeat things. But when we castigate doctors, now have placed doctors into the category of good doctors and bad doctors, we are really on a path to a growing divide as opposed to what people want. Their safety, their sanity, their civility, their sense of security in a stable, socially harmonious society.
But then again, it is not still the answer I am looking for. I am saying if they did nothing about it, with all the division and everything else that you're talking about, if they had stood still, what do you think would have been the results today?
Where many have probably, in answering you, have looked at this whole thing, is that when they see other ailments and question that perhaps they, if not as dangerous as this thing, maybe more so, have not had the same level of response and cooperation and a concerted effort. Even hunger and homelessness, even things like addressing climate change, even things like AIDS, the common cold, cancer, and the like. The question, as some have asked, if, and for me, one person getting sick, one person dying, even in an accident, but even dying, to me, that's one person too many if that could have been avoided. But if we can have a 99-point-something%, survival rate, should we not look at things with the same level of urgency as we are with this? If you want, we can engage after the news break. I see that I'm not being cognizant and respectful. I don't wish to be otherwise. You want to hang on, or if not, rejoin us, your choice, sir. Always appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. You're most welcome, sir. Let's pause now and take this break and then come back and talk some more.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
A total of 80 tickets have been issued for use of a mobile phone while driving since August 11th. This as a result of traffic operations by the RCIPS targeting distracted drivers, particularly motorists using a mobile phone while driving. Targeted traffic operations are ongoing, and the RCIPS continues to encourage everyone to do their part to make the Cayman Islands safer by not using mobile phones while driving or engaging in any other forms of distracted driving. Turning to international news now, an explosion sparked by a fire at a COVID-19 hospital has killed 14 people in North Macedonia, a government spokesperson told CNN on Thursday. Local media showed images of a huge blaze at the hospital as firefighters raced to the scene on Wednesday. The fire was extinguished after a few hours. A total of 26 patients were inside the center at the time of the incident. 12 of those patients are now in hospital and out of critical care, that according to the health ministry in a statement sent to CNN. An estimated 200 foreigners, including Americans, left Afghanistan on a commercial flight out of Kabul on Thursday, the first such large-scale departure since U.S. and NATO forces completed their frantic withdrawal over a week ago. The Qatar Airways flight to Doha marked a breakthrough in the bumpy coordination between the U.S. and Afghanistan's new Taliban rulers. A days-long standoff over charter planes at another airport has left hundreds of people, mostly Afghans, stranded, waiting for the Taliban permission to board. And Michael Constantine, an Emmy Award-winning character actor who reached worldwide fame playing the Windex bottle-toting father of the bride in the 2002 film My Big Fat Greek Wedding, has died. He was 94. Constantine died August 31st at his home in Reading, Pennsylvania, of natural causes, his family said. The news was confirmed to the Associated Press on Thursday by his agent, Julia Bochwald. Those are your latest headlines here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. Miss Susan is right there. What a more gracious lady you probably couldn't find. They say you come from the brag, you good people. Come from good stock, they say. 894-980-37, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Many of you probably have seen through your elected members of the legislature put out through their, what's it called? Their channels, their social media, bits and pieces, that there is a press briefing sometimes this afternoon. I don't know about anybody else. I don't want to say bombarded, because that would not, be the word I would want to use, but that would be the word that one person typed and said, I guess you've been bombarded. Nope, I'm glad that you're asking me. Apologies, I don't have a time for it. It will be announced when it will be announced, and if we know it, we will tell you. Certainly, we will carry it live here on Radio Cayman as yesterday in CIG TV. So if it is going to occur today, then we certainly want you to be engaged and informed and involved. But yes, there is an announcement that a press briefing will be sometime this afternoon. I guess I can say afternoon because midday has come and gone. So when that transpires, certainly want everybody to be informed. And it just shows that as a people, we are not only politically motivated, engaged, and involved and interested, but as a country, we're concerned, we're committed, we're certainly dedicated and determined, and we certainly want to appreciate what is happening. Now, I hope that it means that that level of interest and engagement means that we are prepared to work together in a very civil way, that we don't need to be told to do things that are seemingly sensible things to do. But yet, and I say this very carefully, there are very few of us who would, go to the restroom or go to have a meal and not wash our hands. But maybe there are some. As we go to the phone, say good afternoon and
Hi, good
welcome.
Afternoon.
How are you?
Good afternoon, Sterling. How are you, sir?
Very well, sir. And yourself?
I am pretty good, praise God.
All right, amen.
Okay, now, sir, I want to say something on the, at the onset.
Mm-hmm.
I have taken the vaccines. I've had both shots.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But to me, I felt it was my civic duty. I still don't believe enough in or about the vaccine. Right? I don't know whether it's good or bad, but because government has a target in terms of percentage of people who are vaccinated in order to do certain things, I decided I was at 70-something. What's the problem? I can contribute to that effort. So if I go, no big deal. But having said that, what I would like to say is that I still think that it should be my decision whether or not I want to be vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I did it consciously, and I did it, willingly, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel it should have been my decision. I made the decision.
Yeah,
now,
not forced, but your choice.
Right.
Okay, sir.
Now, what my problem is the people who are livid, if you want to discuss the topic from the standpoint of maybe the vaccine might not be good.
Okay.
If you want to take that perspective, I'm part of a neighborhood watch group.
Uh-huh.
And they are livid if I mention. I didn't say the vaccine wasn't good. My argument has always been it should be discussed. People, people should be free to discuss the whole issue from whatever perspective they choose. It should not be. I said to somebody, you would have been a good leader in a totalitarian society. I said to somebody on that group, because this thing of,
yes, sir.
they're going to kick me out of the group. I said, if I raise that again and, unreasonable things like those.
Right.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad that you referenced that. I'm sorry that you're experiencing it, and if you'd allow me, seems like you and I are in the same or similar boat. From two perspectives, right? I love to be hopefully viewed as somebody somewhat tolerant and want to at least hear your opinion. Don't have to agree with it, but at least civil and respectful enough to listen to a different view. So I found myself experiencing...
That's a civilized way to go about things. That's a civilized way.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, well, I had a friend, I hopefully still have, but I had a friend where, we could talk endlessly. And because of my actions and inactions, I may have put that friendship in, more than friendship, in jeopardy, right? But I was the one remaining companion that I could have this conversation, because I've found, like many, it has visited upon me, that this is one discussion that leads to so much discord and division that you're at risk of losing your friends and being divided as family, all right? I witnessed something the other day, and only after it hit me, I mean, what I say, straight up in the gut, that I realized, wow, I was in the company of some, again, very respectful, responsible people who are probably somewhat well, at least known and respectfully addressed in our society. And one, because of the professional acumen, the expertise and experience, said something similar to what you did. And the others quickly said, oh, you're an anti-vaxxer. And I thought, well, that's an interesting term. I watch it on the stupid American television all the time, being called that. I thought, wow. And the person said, well, what does that mean? How do I become labeled as such? Took all the vaccines, give them to all the children, and encourage people, even went ahead and, take the flu shot and take this injection and the like. But because, like you, just ask the question and question whether and to what extent people should be forced to do certain things. And so I was just listening, and the question was, sort of put to you, well, what do you think? And I thought, well, what's wrong? I mean, there's some food on the table here, and there are two of us that didn't eat it. So are we anti-meat? Are we, anti-pork? Are we anti-chocolate just because, for whatever reason, we didn't eat it? Oh, that's a different story. But is it? So, I mean, what's going to happen now when that division gets bigger, sir? Sorry, caller?
Yeah.
Kind of like talking to my wife, there's an answer, no response. Oh, she is.
I'm driving, so I was using my Bluetooth, so I had to disconnect it and
okay.
On speakerphone.
Yeah.
Good. Right. So
yeah.
So what I'm saying is that I think in a civilized society, people should be free to express contrary views.
Right.
Other people, because you have the power, the authority to tell people that you shouldn't say that. There was nothing wrong with the fact that I was sharing something with a view that is contrary to the views of some people. They're saying you have to take a vaccine, it's good for you, and maybe they'll be proven to be right as the time goes by. I'm hoping that they're right. But what I'm saying is that I could be right. Maybe the vaccine is good for you. Maybe something negative is going to happen to your body because of this particular vaccine. So I think I should be able to express at least the thought that maybe it might not be good.
You would think so, right?
I couldn't say it's not good. I would be a fool to attempt to say that the vaccine is not good for people. I mean, even the vaccine as it stands, which I think is still a work in progress, right? But that people will, it reminds me of the LGBTQ community. They seem to think that if you don't agree with their stance, you're marked for death, or should be. Well, such stances, I mean, I do not appreciate. I can do nothing about it, and I acknowledge that. But believe me, if I had a vote, I'd vote against people taking stances like that. So, I feel that everybody should be able to listen to both sides, and then, everybody, if we have a collective opinion, we can share one opinion, perfect. If not, well, then you're still fit to live.
Right.
You should not be marked for death.
Exactly. But the question has to be asked, though, if we are laboring under democracy, if people, right, have given the ultimate sacrifice, they have fought in wars to defend it and our rights to agree and to disagree, they've lost their lives, should we take so lightly the willingness with which people nowadays are seemingly giving up their freedoms and their right to, as you said, to question and to speak? Now, it doesn't mean that people should be so hateful and so prejudicial and all those things, even when they talk, maybe the language that they use. But for a person not to be able to question something, is that real democracy?
I'll just pull aside and park.
Yes, sir.
I talk with you.
Yeah, man.
Okay, sir. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, no, as I say, I mean, as you're listening, do we now somehow diminish, devalue, and totally disrespect that loss of life of all the people, some of whom are very close to us, some of whom are not just now returning from wars and other skirmishes globally, not dead, but in such a debilitated state that they have given that sacrifice so that we can criticize governments or we can champion certain things. If it's a democracy, surely a level of freedom of speech and movement should be the thing that we expect.
That's right. I support that 100%, Sterling. Because, I mean, we are not, even God gave us freedom of choice.
Yeah.
He didn't say that you have to accept His Son as your Savior, etc. You know, and well, he did say that, but he didn't. He could have made it so that you could have become like a robot, and He could dictate the terms of how you live and move and breathe, right?
Yeah.
But He said you have a choice.
Choose ye this day whom you serve, huh?
Whom you will serve, right? You know, He could have made you a creature that had to serve Him because you were so programmed like a robot. But He didn't do that.
Right.
I don't see why people would want to do that.
But then as I listen to you, and with great respect, probably need to take this break, this schedule, but is that what is going to happen? People are and will be forced against their will because their jobs are threatened, their movements are restricted. There is for want of a better word, an authority-like force there to ensure that, you know what, comply or else. All right, let's pause and take that break. Thank you for that thought, sir. When we come back, more talk today.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. It is open line this Thursday afternoon, and as we, get into our last segment, we go straight to the phones. Welcome. Thanks for calling. Okay, we'll get there. We will get there. Unofficially, we're hearing that the government's press briefing will transpire at 3 p.m. Hopefully, we can get official confirmation. But we want you to stay tuned to Radio Cayman. That way, as an official source, you can hear it from the officials that we elect, that are appointed and the like. And then as a prayerful, responsible, respectable, respected citizens in our society, we respond in a civilized way, helping all and sunder alike. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts with us as you so choose. There are many of you who so grateful for your thoughts. If you would like, I could probably share, this one. So it is obvious that there's been great division over the vaccine issue. Even though I take the vaccine as an obedient citizen, there are problems with it. Why not use the little window period now to seriously educate the population on prophylactic measures rather than pushing the vaccine? The country as a whole would best become vigilant about staying healthy and making wise decisions, plus have available treatments on hand in case of outbreak. This agenda to vaccinate everyone is doing more harm than good. Many, I think, you see it in children, you force them, they probably rebel. We see it in people walking across the bridge, don't look down, they look down. It is interesting, and I think certainly for me wonderful that as a populace we're not only civil, if you love the word, we're compliant, we're law-abiding, obedient, very disciplined, responsible, respectful people who try to do what we think collectively is in the best interest of all. If we look at the successes in any society, in Cayman in particular, if everybody following the same protocols, borders closed, movements restricted, and we have this success, I think it comes down to the populace. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling.
Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebank.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. This is Clydes.
Yes.
You see, I'm getting used now to call you Sterling.
Boy, there's a time I hear it, and there's a time that once was said that doesn't sound any better than how I hear it, but I no longer do, so hopefully I will once again.
Okay, Mr. Teflon.
There you go, sir. There you
go. One or two things. Okay, there's a lot of discussion about freedom, personal rights, private rights, etc., etc. I would put out the proposition that nothing in this world is completely free.
Nope.
So,
no.
For example, freedom of speech. There are restrictions to freedom of speech. I think an earlier caller said that God gave us the freedom of choice,
right?
Which is true if you believe in the Bible. However, I think those amongst us and maybe elsewhere who would propose that they are quote unquote Christians, if you do not believe in their belief system, then you're ostracized. But if I, as an example, don't subscribe to that, then that's my freedom of choice. But I've found over and over, they'll be the first ones to ostracize you. And I find that too often people use the Bible and Jesus and God as a crutch.
And it's convenient.
When it's convenient.
Sorry, that was in church yesterday, or yesterday, or the day before, last night, or maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it just...
yeah.
It gets to me, man. There's one particular pastor, I won't call his name, I don't know if you would mind or not mind, but you can talk to him all day, every day, and he'll never bring up religion per se. unless you decide to go down that road.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I have the highest regard for that preacher.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But now you got some people going around, every other word out of the mouth of Jesus, this and that, and
mm-hmm.
But I don't really think they subscribe to the actual
Christian ethos,
teaching, the teachings of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Running down homosexuals and gays, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the main commandments of it, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have it come with any conditions,
mm-hmm.
whether it's black, white, gay.
Just love.
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, we have the teaching in the Bible, but then in another part, there's another teaching. Which teaching is correct? The part that I choose? The part that you choose? Okay. Yes, there are freedoms, but with freedoms come restrictions.
Mm-hmm. But is that a challenge, though, with the Bible in many respects? One, the initial translation and subsequent translations, the interpretation of it, and then its application. I would imagine that there was a political mindset at the time. We talk about the King James Version. We talk about Pope Constantine and was it the Council of Nicaea and the like. I'm sure there was a political, whether big P or small p, level of consideration as to what would engender a greater sense of consensus, perhaps. And even like the Book of Thomas and the others, we even questioning, well, what was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls in that cave and was it 47 or whenever it was found? How much of that information is treated like a real Dark Ages and not allowed to be shared as it is with the general populace, right?
You would have thought that that been made widely available.
Well, but then too though, how many times something is widely available, you're told it's there, but you gotta do one thing. You need to go get it. You need to read it. You need to, engage it. But you don't want to do that. And then when it's spoon-fed to you, you don't question it. Well, you just said this. What does that mean? But if you said this and this is said then, well, the two can't be true. So we don't do any of that. And the person that will do that is all of a sudden looked at as a troublemaker. Oh, look at that upstart. Asking a question again. So what does it say? Boy, you get... Anyway, you know how that go, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All too well, young man.
I don't know, boy. I don't know. Where to, my friend, do we next beat a path?
Well, I think the jurisdiction, the territory would be much better off if at some point in time, hopefully sooner than later, we could come together and have sort of a common shared belief as to what we would like this little 3 islands to look like in the next 50 years.
That is the thing, right?
But we had the last real attempt at that was back in 1975. And we really haven't had any government since that time that really took the mantle and went to the public. Something Vision 2008 was a relatively good start, and I'm still of the opinion that we take it off the shelf and update the data, and we have a good starting point.
Right. But let me ask, based on what you just said, let's say me, you, or other people, let's not even put you in that equation. I don't want you to be, mistreated for keeping company with me. But let's say one person...
No, wait. One of my very good friends, his Minister of Home Affairs doesn't really want him hanging out with me. So
Okay. So then, we see how that go then, right?
Yeah.
But if one person or 10 or 100, I mean, it would be good to have 1,000, it would be good to have 10,000. But even one person, what would happen if one person or a small group got up and publicly started to champion some of the things that you were saying? Hey, what are we looking like in 50 years? We had the Vision 2008 exercise, and many of us were engaged in that. Not just Caymanians, people who were here for a long time, some who were here just recently. I think it was some good work. Was everything in there good? Probably not. Were there some great things in there? I think so. Doesn't mean it's so, but I think so, right? But what about the development plans of the 70s? What about the things that we're seeing? Has anybody asked a child under 15? I would even go 10, but let's say 15, right? That age where they're looking forward to graduation from high school and wondering what's going to happen next, right? What are their views? And see if it's not fairly consistent. Boy, it look like we're destroying a lot of vegetation. They may call it all sorts of things. They may talk about damage to the environment.
Yeah.
Under 15, and they're asking, I wonder if I got a future in Cayman. Can I get a job? Will I be able to afford a piece of land or a house? Am I going to live here? And I'm not talking about the foreign national who's here for a while, or the child who was born of foreign national parents who have status or not. I'm talking about the Caymanian child who go in back ancestry links. Are we asking them, and are we hearing what they're saying? And are we respectful to their views?
Dwayne, I would want to say no.
I agree with you, sadly.
Yeah, generally speaking. And I think all we can hope now is that the current 19 elected persons can get together and try and champion something for us, because the current path that we're on, I would challenge any of those 19 to tell me that our current path is sustainable.
Right. I mean, and someone like you,
sustainable in the long term.
In the long term.
Not the next 4 years.
Someone like you, right? And thankfully there are many like you. Got the knowledge, got the experience, got a heart to serve and willing to contribute still. And able to. Just need to be encouraged, right? We are unwilling to listen and to embrace and to engage. I'll give it as a simple example. And I may increasingly start to use personal references. I believe that we pray for those in authority, not because it's instruction from the Bible, but that in of itself is good counsel. But if the people in authority are imbued with a sense of wisdom and humility, honor and integrity, intellect, good conscience and the like, they're going to probably make better decisions. I could be wrong, but that's what I think, right? And secondly, if we are unwilling to look at what is happening in our society and ask questions, or to comment and responsible comment, and things befall us, who are we going to blame? Like all I see that we have disengaged. My God, some days the clock ticks and we are so adamant about time that we forget the value of people. Well, no disrespect to you though, but that was a missed point on our part. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks to Miss Susan. I'm going to give her a harder time tomorrow if she's not careful. Time to speak and time to act and time to move on. The press briefing, we're told, is at 3 p.m. Let's stay tuned to Radio Cayman and make sure that we become informed. We listen intently and try to understand. Sometimes you got to rewind the clock in order to, see it, but we can't turn back the hands of time. As I add up other words of counsel, I'm mindful that sometimes the road that befalls us may not be necessarily the road that we want to traverse. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.